Fight presents.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Bonjour, you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, aka the Canadian Assassin, and I am not alone. She's the host of Pro Wrestling Pets and United Wrestling Network. Please welcome Emily May.
Hi. Hey, TK.
Hey. And today we have an amazing show and, of course, nothing but amazing guests. And today is no exception. Let me tell you, this woman is beyond busy. So she's a mom, she's a pro wrestler, she's a businesswoman, and a certified esthetician. You've seen her on Mission Pro Wrestling, Championship Wrestling, and so many more places. Please welcome the Mad Esthetician, Amber Rodriguez.
Hi. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Hey, yeah, you're like one of the you're on your second go around, and so I love it. I love to see like the growth. But like I said, I was doing some research on you, and you do a lot. So you have a kid, you're an esthetician, you're doing your wrestling, you're doing the business, you're selling stuff online. How do you balance everything? Because
I don't.
I'm tired.
I don't. I'm still figuring that out. Like, for the longest, I would accidentally have myself booked for things, not necessarily in wrestling, but I could even I'll have clients, and then I'm like, oh wait, I got this podcast at this time, or I got to go train, I got to go to the gym, I got to do something with my baby. So I'm still mapping everything out. But lately what I've been doing is, and iPhones are amazing, you can do little reminders, and so I talk to it, and then I just kind of plan out my day, block by block, and that's how I've been organized lately. So it's great.
Yeah. Are you remembering to put in your self-care time? Because that's super important, like you time, right? Because you're taking care of so many other people.
Oh yeah, after this, I'm going to have a hot bath. I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to turn my phone off. It's going to be amazing.
Oh yeah, I just discovered airplane mode. I didn't just discover it, but I now put on airplane mode during the course of the day because my phone rings too much, and I'm just it's the best thing ever. So
after a certain point at the end of the night, just turn those notifications off. Feel so good.
Yeah,
it's a whole situation. But let's get back into wrestling. So we had I kind of feel like 2020 and 2021, it's kind of all one lump. Sometimes I forget we had 2021. I don't know, it's very weird. So given the pandemic and everything, and we're still in the pandemic, but whatever's
coming
going
out
on,
of it somewhat.
I'm we'll not even go into that, what the news is saying. So how did you, coming out of the pandemic or during the course of the pandemic, how did you do your training? What was your mindset? And then when, matches and bookings started opening up, what was the game plan for that?
So, not to sound cocky or anything, but it never stopped for me. I stayed busy during the pandemic. I stayed safe, of course, but, I was blessed to have amazing opportunities even in the midst of the pandemic. So it was just, I was always on go. Everyone's like, oh yeah, when we were in the house for months, and I'm like, ugh. I was still out there working, again, safely. But yeah, I was out there working still. I'm also active duty, so that never stopped either. But I am thankful because I did have a little more downtime then than I do now, if that makes sense. And that's when I was able to really find my niche in aesthetics. And I was lucky enough to shadow this seasoned esthetician over here at one of the shops in Mobile, and that's when I really, was like, man, this is something I really want to do, because wrestling is amazing. It's my passion. It's my first love, but nobody can wrestle forever, right? It's just impossible. Nobody's going to wrestle the rest of their lives. So It's just good to have that something that's like outside of wrestling, and it's like also outside of the military and all that stuff. And it's like, this is mine, like nobody can touch this. This is my thing that I have. And, no matter what comes and goes, like this isn't going anywhere,
Yeah, I mean, what was that moment? So you were learning about how to become an esthetician. You were learning, getting your certifications and your licenses. So what was that like epiphany, that moment that you decided to like have your own business and then also do this? And what was that process like, balancing it all in the midst of everything going on in the world?
Yeah. So, working at Candy Lash, that's the name of the shop that I was, overshadowing and just, studying, just figuring out if this is something I want to do. I, started working with clients as an apprentice, and then I started doing things on my own, and I started getting more confident. And I'm like, man, like so many workers get this stuff done. Like a lot of, female workers and dudes too, like they get waxed or, I know a lot of girls that like to get facials before their matches or, teeth whitening and, and then body contouring alone. Like that's something for everybody. Right. And then people that know about it, they certainly love to get it done. And I'm like, I would love to I just kind of sat back and thought about it. Like, what if I kind of like help people out, like even in the locker room, like I can like set up and like if people want stuff done, you know what I mean? And just kind of kill two birds with one stone. And, in the background, me and my sister were also on the phone talking about all this. And, she had casually mentioned how she started making her own lip scrub. Right. And so I was like, oh man, send me some. Like, it's so hard to find a good lip scrub. Right. And so, she sent it to me and I'm like, you need to sell this, right? And I'm like, but I'm also doing all this stuff with aesthetics and I'm really into like moisturizers. Like I can make a body butter, right? And then, I was like, man, like I love taking baths. Like I love milk baths and bath salts. And then next thing you know, we have like a whole line of stuff that we made. And there was Ashley Renee Beauty Company. So Ashley is her middle name, Renee is my middle name. And so it just kind of took on a life of its own. And next thing I know, I have a skincare line with my sister.
Nice. And you like mentioned like how you would like set up like behind like with matches and stuff like that. Like, is that, I guess, side hustle growing where people like know, okay, well, she does stuff. So let me make sure like I let her know, like we're going to be at this match together. So let me book her now. Like,
like I tell girls all the time, like it was a couple girls at Mission. Actually, I was like, yeah, next time just hit me up and I'll bring my stuff and come set up. You know what I mean? And it's something I love to. I love helping out like my brothers and sisters in this business. Like I love helping people out because I kind of I wouldn't say I had it rough, but I came up when everybody's just kind of like to themselves and nervous about somebody like taking their spot. And I'm like, if it's that fragile, it's not yours to begin with. But anyway, like now I'm just all about helping people out and just like doing whatever I can to, you know what I mean? Just be a blessing to somebody else. But yeah, it's funny because I think this was part of your question too, Emily, but how I kind of decided to mix it into my wrestling. Like I was on the phone with a friend of mine and, just talking about just my studies and how everything's coming along. And at the same time, like we kind of changed subjects. And I was like, man, like in wrestling, I kind of got frustrated at a point in time because I felt very overlooked. And I felt like I was kind of starting to blend in, with everyone else. And, it's not a good feeling when someone looks at you and your character or whatever. And it's like, I can also point to 7 other girls that can do the same thing and probably for less money or the closer or whatever the case may be. So we were talking about that. And then, at the same time, I was talking about, how everything's going with my schooling and stuff. And, I think it was so random. I think I was talking about like waxing somebody or something. I was like, something about just waxing somebody's eyebrows off in the ring. And I was like, wait, Wait, like this is money.
You're like, this could work. This can actually work.
Yeah.
I mean, so at Mission Pro Wrestling, you gave Key Vibes a body contouring session.
Yeah.
So you kind of do that. You go through a lot of virtual consultations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's great how it all just kind of works together now. Like the Mad Esthetician, right? And then people are like, when they find out I'm really an esthetician, it's like, wait, like it's kind of cool, and it makes people want to book with you more. It's like, oh, that's the one that's also a wrestler. You know what I mean? And let me book whatever with her and talk to her. So it's great how it's all just kind of working together. And then character wise, my character is very perfect. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you want to be perfect like me? Buy this body butter. So it's great how everything's kind of working in unison.
Yeah, let's talk about the Mad Esthetician. So I've seen some of the promos, and I like your take on it because you could do like you have the perfect thing, but you don't go, for lack of a better word, like the Kim Kardashian way. Like even how you like when you say certain things, like you make your eyes like get bigger. Like it's just one of those things. Like who do you channel, or what do you channel, or how did you create those layers? Because somebody could just say, okay, well, I'm the Mad Esthetician, and then it could just be like bland. They wear like a white coat, but you're doing like several layers to it. So like, how did you put this character together?
So I was a huge fan of Victoria or Lisa Marie growing up. And I mean, when you talk about somebody being crazy, like that was a girl to watch, and so huge shout out to her, a huge fan of hers. And just, even the twitching after the finish and stuff like that, like little notes like that, I really, I watch her and try to channel that as much as I can. I also watch other stuff like Dr. Death. I love that on Peacock.
A little bit darker.
Yeah, because his whole thing is he believes that he's fixing people and helping them, and he's like God's gift to medicine, right? But in reality, he's either murdering them or like leaving them permanently injured. So
okay. All right.
So because you mentioned you take your skincare line on the road and your services. Is there anyone that like you would love to help? Like, not saying that they need help, but if you like had a match with them, or if you were at a show, is there someone that you were like, oh, I'd love to give this person a facial? Or
so I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to put people's business out there, but there is one girl in particular, and man, I'm going to sound like such a creep, but like I was looking at her face and I'm like, I want to get my hands on that. She had a lot of issues with like cystic acne and just when it forms underneath the skin, which is something I haven't seen very often, but it is common. And I'm like, man, I just want to do some extractions. So yeah.
Do you ever get distracted? Like you just like find yourself staring at people?
Yeah. See, now you're doing it on purpose. You're making me sound like a creep. But yes.
Oh, so now did some Insta stalking on your Instagram. You posted, I mean, you have a lot of great pictures on there, but you posted almost like not a before and after, but when you were a little bit heavier and then now. Did you feel pressure, especially, I mean, I think there's kind of, for men, it's two different things. It's like, oh, dad bod, here we go, or they stay super in shape. But I think for women, I feel like there's a little bit more added pressure. So did you feel that pressure, or is that more for yourself, or what was that? And the transition, like you look amazing.
Thank you. And yeah, it's a ton of pressure, like especially in this line of work. It's a cosmetic industry. You know what I mean? And I feel like plus size women, there's, first of all, there is absolutely nothing wrong with different shapes and sizes, of everybody. Like, do what makes you happy. However, like I said, it's a very cosmetic industry, right? And I feel like a lot of the bigger mainstream companies are just starting to kind of like give curvy girls a chance, you know what I mean? Which is great to see. But for me personally, I wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't taking care of myself. I went through a lot with depression and just different, struggles with mental health. And I just got to a point where, I just wasn't taking the best care of myself. That, and then when I had my daughter, I had an emergency C-section. So it's a very unnatural thing for your body to go through, and certain things just don't snap back and get back in place. So, and I'm super open about this. I don't claim to have done all this naturally. I did have a little something done. So, but me and Dr. Lyons did a great job. But yeah, I say all this to say, it has been a journey. But going through what I went through and then just deciding to make that change, and not only make the change, but to keep it up, because seeing those results in the mirror, it's like, man, like I cannot go back to that. Like I have to, you know what I mean? Like stay on top of everything and just stay on top of my health and just taking care of myself. Like now I'm in the best shape of my life. I can get in the ring and, keep up with the best of them. And it's such a good feeling to feel like, because, I've been at it for a minute. So it's a good feeling to know that I'm not like progressing with my years and also getting out of shape, which is something that we also see. So it's good to see that I'm like, getting better, in the ring and like physically and, body wise, and just keeping everything up. And I just have like the most confidence that I've ever had. So it's definitely great. And I'm blessed.
Sorry, Emily, you touched on mental health issues, and that's kind of been a big thing within the community over maybe the last 2 or 3 years. You don't have to get into necessarily like what you went through, but like, how did you know that you needed help? Because it sounds like there was a moment where it's like, I need to figure this out. Because some people like they stay in that feeling. So, for the people who are experiencing that, like, how did you, get out of it, or what did you do?
It's a lot, and, by no means do you like start going to therapy, or for me it was that, and also getting back in the church, but by no means do you do things like that and it's like, all right, well, I'm all better now, you know what I mean? Like it's an upkeep, you know what I mean? Just kind of like what I went through on the outside, what I went through physically, like it's an upkeep. You got the help, you got like 50% of the way there, and then you got to take yourself the rest of the way. It's the same thing with my mental health, and I'll be honest, I'm an open book. I don't hide anything, because I'm like, people go through stuff, and like, it's also kind of refreshing to see like, oh, you too, you know what I mean? So I'm super open about everything. But, in the midst of the pandemic, I did go through a divorce, and I kind of went through a weird phase where like I just couldn't really seem to find myself. I just kind of jumped from like relationship to relationship, and it's like, okay, I'm avoiding the problem, you know what I mean? Like I need to look deeper and just kind of put all that to a stop and just kind of fix myself, and work on myself, especially I got a little baby to raise. I got a little girl, you know what I mean, that looks at every little thing I do, and I will not be a bad example for her. Like I refuse to be a bad example for her. So I just kind of had to take a step back and just, reevaluate everything and just remember who I am. And, like I said, like it was going to therapy, getting back into church. I'm very, very heavy on my faith. And so, yeah, those things it worked for me. It's different things work for different people, but that's what worked for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it is such an important thing that more and more people are now open about and talking about how to, again, have that self-care, talk about your mental health, say that it's okay to not be okay, and getting the help that you need. This is related because the wrestling industry is so body image centric, and how do you balance that between the services that you provide, between the Mad Esthetician, and raising a young daughter? How do you help kind of advocate for a positive self-body image, and also mental health and all of that working together?
So the biggest thing with wrestling, that we have to remember, wrestling is an escape from reality, right? It's not necessarily, you know what I mean, like just what you would see every day. It's theater, So like it's over the top. It's what you wouldn't normally see at your regular 9 to 5. You're going to see a show. You're going to see characters. So there may be the whole perfect like me thing, or you're not perfect, or you need this, you need me to fix you or whatever. But we got to remember that it's a show, you know what I mean? But behind the scenes, or, outside of the ring, body positivity is definitely something I pride myself on. And, even with my services, with body contouring, my favorite clients are new moms. Because I've been there. And my favorite clients are, women that are postpartum, and they just want to look in the mirror and feel confident. Not that there's anything wrong with it, you know what I mean? Like, but I guess you got to kind of like have gone through it to really, understand, like, it's like, okay, this was my baby's home, and that's cool. However, I want to wear a bikini again, So like, I love working with new moms and just helping them, get that confidence, and just helping them get to where they want to go, and just, just a smile on their face, like when they've trusted the process, they've done the sessions, they've kept up and done their part as well. You know what I mean? And so those are my favorite transformations to see. I love satisfied clients, but, especially new moms, because I've been there and I know how it is.
So let's get a little bit back into wrestling. So you mentioned in one of your interviews that Jazz is like one of your mentors. And we all know Jazz. She's been in the game forever. She's a legend. I feel like she's just like a walking like Wikipedia. Like they're just so well Wikipedia has, what I'm saying. She has a lot of knowledge. Now, is there anything that she said to you, like any piece of advice where it's like, man, you carry it with you to this day, where she just said one thing and it was just like an aha moment?
So she's definitely a legend. She's definitely someone that I constantly like get advice from. I remember when I first was kind of when the Mad Esthetician was baking in the oven. She was one of the first people that I called, and because we kind of talked on Facebook here and there, and in person we met a couple times, but it was like, I really don't know. I wonder what she thinks. So I just kind of stepped outside of my shyness. That's another thing. Outside of the ring, I'm actually very shy. But yeah, so I was like, can I call you? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm about to call Jazz. And I was like sitting with my phone, and it took me a second. I'm like, okay, she's just a person. She's just a person. So like, I called her and, told her my idea and like where I'm going with it. And, she's like, it sounds great. She's like, I'm excited to see it. She's like, I think you'll do good with it. And I, then I debuted it, and then I would send her like promos and like, hey, what do you think of this? And like, I knew when she thought it was a good idea, with everything that, she's Jazz, right? So like, she thinks it's money. It's money. So to answer your question, there wasn't really like a one-liner or anything, but just, having that approval from my OG, it was just like, okay, I'm doing something right.
Nice.
It was probably surreal, right? It was surreal to probably just get that, that feedback from such a legend.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, I have to ask, I have to get a little scoop, because I've been seeing these promos on your social media.
Yeah.
And I was kind of here when this interaction happened. Mm-hmm. And there's rumors that you and Roche Chanel might be a future tag team?
All I'm going to say is 2022 is looking very bright. And, we can fix some faces and fix some fashion at the same time.
Oh, all right. That's all you're gonna tease?
So speaking of 2022, this is I'm a firm believer of like kind of doing your vision board or whatever it is if you're a goal oriented person before the year starts, not like the first of the year. Do you have any goals beyond tag team domination and fixing people? Like what's your goals for 2022?
So I'm a huge believer in write the vision and make it plain, because he who sees it shall run with it. And I put it out there, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna have more showcase matches. I will be signed soon. That's something I tell myself all the time. I write it down. Like, I'm gonna have some major opportunities, and my career is just gonna go to new heights, and I'm gonna debut in some great places as well. Like, you should see, I've done all this stuff. But I focus on it. I read it every morning, especially on my bad days. I'm like, this is what it's all for. You know what I mean? Because me and my baby are eventually going to have our penthouse in Manhattan. So.
Okay.
Nice. I love it. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Mission Pro, because you came back again for another match, and so I wanted to hear from you. A lot of people say that locker room is very different, and the way that women's wrestling and just is represented in that promotion is very different. And so can you share your experience and what you've observed, how things have changed in the last year?
So things haven't changed that much, and I say that in the best way, meaning that it is still such a professional, star-studded promotion, and just being in that locker room is such an honor. Working with Thunder is an honor, and just it's a tight ship, you know what I mean? And I say that with the utmost respect. Only you have to be of a certain caliber to work here. In places like that, it's amazing to be a part of it, because okay, you chose me out of however many people that are trying to be here. So it's definitely an honor. You know what I mean? If I always say to other workers, if you're in a locker room and you feel like you're the best there, then that's a problem. You know what I mean? There should be other people that you look at okay, I got to get to their level. I got to get up here. I got to get here. You know what I mean? There should definitely be you know what I mean? More, I don't know, just, more talent there that you should aspire to. I don't want to say be but you get what I'm saying. Just
Yeah.
on a higher level.
Yeah. Yeah. Mission Pro, I feel, is definitely a blueprint as far as inclusion and diversity. It's just, it's people should definitely take a page from it. Now you mentioned in a previous interview talking about representation, and I kind of feel like it's the same thing throughout the entertainment industry. You have a lot of people who want to be in front of the camera, but there's a lot of positions behind the camera, et cetera, et cetera. If you were able to, not necessarily putting this on your plate because you're already doing a lot, but hypothetically, if you were able to, have representation throughout the promotions, no matter what promotion is, what few things would you do in order to be able to do that?
I'm trying to be careful because I don't want it to come out wrong, but I would have more women of color main eventing for sure. I would have more women of color in high profile championship matches. And just so you can see that so little girls can see that okay, I can be like this someday, you know what I mean, what Jazz and Jacqueline did for me, you know what I mean, or even Sasha and Bianca main eventing WrestleMania, that's a huge milestone. I never thought I'd live to see that. So I feel we take moments like that, especially since it happened recently, and we capitalize, right? Like we, push for it more and, make sure that we're not just being trendy, but we're doing something with the intent to provide that representation. And, I have so much love for women like Trisha Dora. You know what I mean? Like she is the culture. She is the culture. Mm-hmm. And, like it's very important that, young girls see that, young girls that look like her see her, you know what I mean? And so, but yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I would have more women of color main eventing and, in high profile matches and winning championship belts and just, being those representatives.
Yeah, more than just like one at a time. I think that's definitely something's like, oh, well, we have the one, so
Yeah. Right? No, it's like, okay, check, on to the next, and it's like, no, like let's do more.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and that's kind of like the women's wrestling has shifted and changed, and we still have a long way to go in making that happen. And like it is like an ongoing work in progress that a lot of women that are now like promoters and running their own companies and like we're all working trying to make that happen. So and we all have to work together to make it happen.
And again, shout out to Mission Pro, for everything that happened with the Rosa Negra. Like that was amazing. I was honored to be there to see, her win that belt. So, yeah, man, like just capitalizing off these moments, and I'm excited to see what the future will bring.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not a fad. That's my main. Like I'm hoping it's not like, oh well, because and now we're gonna go back to. So I'm really hoping that's not the case. But yeah, I definitely agree with you.
In Cat We Trust, and also one of the hosts and writers of Women's Wrestling Talk. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. This is Women's Wrestling Talk's news edition, and we have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. One of the news this week is Utami from Stardom has officially become the World of Stardom champion for 400 days, which is, as you know, way over a year. So a big congratulations from us at Women's Wrestling Talk to Utami from Stardom, aka the Red Queen. Keep on shining, Queen. One of the highlights of Monday Night Raw this week was the matchup between Doudrop, also known as Piper Nevins, versus Bianca Belair. So one of the moments of the match is Bianca picking up Piper from the end, bringing her into the middle of the ring and doing a suplex with her in the middle of the ring with ease. And everybody knows I'm a huge Bianca Belair fan and how athletic and strong she is, but to see the audience kind of get up for her and cheer as she did that whole sequence was nothing short of amazing. So Bianca, just keep on doing your thing. I am so excited for the stuff you're going to do in 2022. AEW had quite a few women's matches on the cards for AEW Dark Elevation for both Monday and Tuesday's episodes on YouTube. So for Monday's card, we had Vel Velvet versus Maddie Winkowski. We also had Thunder Rosa versus Amber Rodriguez, who are both friends of the show, and I also got to interview Amber Rodriguez this year, which was pretty cool. We then had a 3-on-3 women's match with Nyla Rose, Emi Sakura, and the Bunny versus Jessica James, Gigi Ray, and Lady Bird Monroe, and that was Monday's card. Tuesday also had quite a few women's matches on the AEW Dark card. So it was Charlotte Renegade versus Abaddon, Robin Renegade versus Brandy Rose. We had Kiara Hogan versus Shalonce Royal, Penelope Ford versus Willow Nightingale, and Velvet versus La Rosa Negra. So if you haven't had a chance to check out all those women matches on AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, please go check out AEW's YouTube channel and support the women on the card. House of Glory, which is an indie promotion in Queens, New York City, has announced that the January 2022 show will feature an all-women's wrestling card. The show is called Who Runs the World, which is an all-women's tournament, and 3 of the competitors have already been announced. So Diana Perosa, Mercedes Martinez, and Santana Garrett are the first 3 women announced for the tournament. I will be there, so I can't wait to see who wins the tournament and all the fabulous women that will be on that show. Wrestler Miranda Elise have also signed with Capital Championship Wrestling, which is an all-women's wrestling promotion. 2 of our hosts, Ella J and Samara Rose, also do commentary there. So definitely, if you can, Go support all the women on that roster and two of our wonderful co-hosts. I wanted to extend a big congratulations on behalf of Women's Wrestling Talk to wrestler Savannah Evans for making quite a few finalist categories in the 2021 Carolinas Professional Wrestling Awards. Most notably, she is the first woman to ever be nominated as the Wrestler of the Year. So hopefully you win all those categories. But a big congratulations from us to you, Savannah. One of our co-hosts, Stephanie Hardy, also recently interviewed referee Aubrey Edwards from AEW. So if you haven't had a chance to listen and watch that interview, please go check it out at the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and watch and listen to more of her interviews on there as well. On a recent interview with Gail Kim on Renee's Oral Sessions, Gail Kim talked about her journey with Impact and the Knockouts division. When Gail first got to Impact, there was absolutely no women's division, and she was left being the managers to the other wrestlers, and she missed being in the ring and doing what she loved. When she was able to re-sign with Impact is when the Knockouts division was finally created, and she felt Impact started to take women's wrestling seriously. I thought that was a really interesting comment, as well as the other stuff she said in that interview. So if you haven't had a chance to check out Oral Sessions with Renee, please look up that interview with her and Gail Kim. Thank you so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk News Edition. Please remember to follow the website at www.talkpod.com. Also check out our social media at www.talkpod. You can find me on In Cat We Trust on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. The E is a 3. Thank you so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk News Edition, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
These rapid hot tags real quick. So rapid hot tags is I give you a question and you say whatever the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So who is your favorite artist of all time?
Oh man, I wasn't ready. Like musically?
Yeah.
Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam is my favorite band.
All right, there you go. What's your favorite body part to work on?
Okay. Again, trying to be careful. I do vacuum therapy. I do like BBLs using vacuum therapy. So I don't want to say butts, but like butts.
Do it. You should say it. It's fine.
I was like, what is
You're a professional.
Can you not say it? I was like,
this is going a different direction.
I know. If you were able to have one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, to be invisible. I'd go all over the place. Because I'm nosy. So like
that sounds bad too, because as a mad esthetician and then being invisible, that's just going to cause the havoc.
Is it? Or could it cause happiness? You never know.
Both. Maybe a mixture.
Maybe. Last question. If you were able to, actually, your house containing everything you own catches on fire. After saving your loved ones, pets, you have time to make one final dash to save one item. What would it be?
A glass of wine. Because I'm going to need a drink after that.
There it is. So now we're going to hit this panel question. So the panel questions for everybody, host and our very special guest host. You're now a guest host when you cross over to this side. So the panel question is, our holidays are around the corner. If you were to plan a holiday party, give me 3 to 5 wrestlers you'd like to invite to this party and why.
Bianca Belair, because I think she's awesome. Sasha Banks, because my daughter is a huge fan of hers and she'd be highly upset if I didn't. Who else? Nyla Rose, because that's my best friend.
Okay. Emily?
Okay, so I have to do Saint Mick. I got to do Mick Foley because I need a Santa Claus at my holiday party. So that has to happen. I really thought about this, TK. I really methodically planned my holiday party. So I also am going to do John Cena because he's really funny and I thought he could help me do a Make-A-Wish fundraiser and charity so it would be like a mixed holiday party, right? So we could give back at the same time. right?
I like it. I like it.
And and then my other guests, I kind of like coupled people together like in a group and counted it as one.
I had a feeling you were going to do that, so I did that on mine too.
Okay, so I'm going to invite Taya Valkyrie and John Morrison as a couple because you need some couples at this party. And they have to bring Presley, their dog, because I need some animals at my holiday party.
Okay.
So Prince Presley will have to be there. So really it's an invite for Prince Presley. So, okay. And then I'm going to invite, so I kind of had a lot here. So I'm going to invite the Bella twins as well. One of the twins can come just because I really like their wine. So I thought they could bring the wine to the holiday party. And then I thought, well, Brandy Rhodes also has wine and her wine. So I thought she could bring that as well if she wants to come. So anyone that can bring the wine, they're more than welcome to come to my holiday party.
Okay, I have a feeling there's going to be a fight that breaks out of this holiday party, but hypothetically, we'll see what happens.
Hey, if we're doing this Make-A-Wish, if we're doing it for the kids, then hopefully there's no fighting.
Yeah, when you involve wine, and they'll probably bring like lots of bottles. It might be
cases, TK.
Cases. Speaking of wine, that's exactly where I was going. I want my holiday party to be very like laid back, but a lot of drinking, and it results in like it's gonna be in a big venue, so there's gonna be like different bedrooms, and people can just fall asleep there. Like that's my idea.
Okay, the mansion party.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to clean. I work a lot, so I just want to be able to just like show up, but I also want people to be entertaining. So my first was the New Day. I want all three of them, so I'm counting them as one.
See?
Well, because I knew you were gonna do that. Because when I was writing this question, I already know that it's like Emily's gonna figure out a way how to make it a little bit bigger. So
I never follow your prompt, TK.
So that's why let me Amber's like, what is going on? So
no, I'm enjoying this.
So I'll do the New Day. Now, of course, there's a lot of tandem. I'll definitely do the Usos, but this is provided that they're actually on good terms, because now they're kind of not on good terms. But the time that they are on good terms, some rap battles, some alcohol, all that good stuff.
Karaoke.
Of course, Naomi.
Karaoke.
I mean, I'm not a karaoke person, but I don't mind watching people do karaoke. So we can definitely do karaoke. Of course, Naomi, for sure. And then I feel like I'm putting this again into the universe. I feel like just because I feel like Stephanie McMahon and I have the same type of personality. Like we just lay back and we just watch how everything kind of goes about, and then we like kind of like kiki, and then we just go back to the like fade out to the back. I feel like I want to invite Stephanie, just like but then in the midst of the alcohol, they can start picking her brain. Like, so like, how are we gonna?
But you're not supposed to talk business at holiday parties.
That's where the alcohol comes in. Then you kind of you loosen up a little bit. And like I said, WWE has stole my ideas a few times in the past. I don't mind them stealing ideas now, because it's just kind of like it's for the betterment of women's wrestling.
As long as it's at the holiday party, you're like over a glass of wine, like you're giving permission.
Yeah. I come up with the big ideas. You feel free to steal them. It's just as long as they get stolen and applied. I don't even need the credit. So it's just a lot of, I definitely agree with you, Emily, a lot of alcohol, a lot of wine, and a lot of laughs. And then it just results in so much wine and so much laughs that it's like, hey guys, here's 75 rooms. Just pick one that works.
Wow. You both are going to have mansions, a penthouse in Manhattan.
Yeah, goals.
Yeah, for sure. Because I do not like cleaning at all. So there it is. You have your goals set for 2022. You're just the domination, the businesses, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Where can people find you to keep?
So I'm on Instagram and Twitter at one Amber Rodriguez. Follow my Facebook fan page at Amber Rodriguez. Also YouTube, Amber Rodriguez. I'm uploading some new stuff, and in the new year, I'm actually going to be doing some weekly videos. So some good stuff for you to see. I'm going to start showcasing more of my esthetician career. So yeah, follow me on all that stuff. Check out Championship Wrestling from Memphis on Saturdays. You can catch me there as well. And I'm trying to think what's going to be out by that time. So January 8th, I'll be in Louisiana for Pro Wrestling 225. I'll be facing Dream Girl Ellie. January 9th, I'll be at Pro Wrestling Action facing Miss Shalance Royale. So I've got some stuff coming up. So you guys can check me out there.
There it is. And Miss Emily May, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on all social platforms at Emily May Heller. Go check out Pro Wrestling Pets on Title Match Network. And we'll have new episodes coming in the new year. And go check out Mission Pro Wrestling on Title Match as well. You can watch Amber's match as well on Title Match Network from Sea to Shining Sea, where we honored. Yeah.
Oh, and Ashley Renee Beauty Company. Shop Ashley Renee Beauty Company. Get some holistic skincare products. Get some nutritious skincare products that are made without parabens or anything that is harmful to your skin.
There it is. So you guys make sure that you catch us every week on Fight TV, and then also go and check out our website, www.talkpod.com. In January, we are dropping so many shows. We have 2 after shows coming up. We have Turnbuckle Glam, which is going to be a fashion wrestling show. I am super excited. I've never been excited about a show that I'm not going to be on. Like, I don't think ever. So I'm really excited about this show. So definitely tune in for that. We'll be dropping all that on our social media. Our social media is www.talkpod. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad, and also catch me every Friday at Wrestling Inc. We talk about wrestling news. So other than that, same thing. Just Google all of us. We are all doing a lot of great things. Other than that, guys, till next time, ciao.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.